So I'm here with Mickey from G2, who's just beaten Mad Lions 3-0 in the first stage of the losers bracket. Tell me how you're feeling today.
Feeling pretty good, relieved I guess, because well, I expected to win pretty convincingly, but I wasn't sure like if it was gonna go our way, because last time it didn't go our way. But yeah, now I'm happy that we did it, because that's how it should have been in the spring playoffs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So both you and Caps picked Nautilus today. Can you tell me what position you prefer Nautilus to be in, either support or mid?
I guess I prefer having in mid, because then I can pick whatever I want, and I already have set up in the mid lane. Like I can just pick any champ that doesn't require, like I don't need to land my skill shots, I can just wait for him to press his ult and then throw my stuff, and then makes a lot of supports easier to play. And also Nautilus can be quite boring to play as a support. As mid lane he can actually 1v1 people, because he makes it easy. Like today he 1v1 the Aria thing in bot lane, when he was like so far behind. But
he did that against Loud as well, didn't
yeah. Like mid lane's a bit more appeal.
You find playing John more fun than playing Blitzcrank? Nautilus, sorry.
Yeah,
really?
Just because I don't play Janna very often. So whenever there's something new, it's more fun to play than something you play for like 500 times. So Janna was pretty fun. I also had like a very easy Janna game. The champs didn't really, they couldn't really play against Janna. So yeah, that was fun.
And I think when I was looking back at your history in League of Legends, obviously you had a great run at Worlds and MSI in 2019, and one of the things I think that you guys pointed out as a team then was that you kind of just burnt out by the finals. So obviously G2 looked really good today. Are you happy with the progress that you're making to be able to make it further in the competition?
Yeah, I think so. I think in the series against Genji, we actually played quite disgusting. It was quite bad, and then we actually reviewed the games, and we saw so many things that we were doing wrong, just like basic stuff that shouldn't happen, I think, at a team in this tournament. So after we looked at it, I was like, okay, we are actually just really stupid, and then we talked about it, and we got more conscious of it. And I think today we already showed a lot of these improvements, and a lot of the talks we had, or a lot of ideas, kind of came to fruition today. So we were all very happy with how the game went, because we kind of implemented all the stuff we talked about, and I think we are much better now.
So I was speaking to Niski earlier this week, and he was telling me how important it was for Mad Lions to win this game today, just because obviously there was all that like fan and social media drama about how Mad Lions don't deserve to make it, and they felt they needed to prove themselves as the first seed. Obviously you won Winter Split, so you qualified quite early. Because you finished 4th in the Spring Split, how important was it today for you guys to win this match?
Well, we were all quite salty, I guess, that we lost and we got 4th in the playoffs. And I think that series also was like, could have gone either way, I think. And I think whoever won that probably wins the finals as well. So we were all pretty salty, so we're really looking forward to playing them and proving people that we're actually the first seed from Europe, So yeah, it felt good, and we were kind of looking forward to it as well, to actually prove to people that we're better, because everyone was saying like, oh yeah, but they won the playoffs, so they must be better. And we're saying with like T1 Genji, I did also feel like T1's a better team, but I was like, oh yeah, so they won the finals, so they must be better now, But it's like different patch, yeah, just like sometimes happens.
And I think this is your first international competition since your Splice days that you haven't been going in as the first seed. So how is that to you in terms of like mentally going into a competition not being kind of the #1 seed from the group?
On one hand, it's good because people don't expect much of you. So if you don't, like in Splice at least, it was really chill because no one actually cared about how well we do. We got a hard group as well, so it was just chilling, So it was easier to play, even though it was still hard because you don't play for yourself anymore, you just play for the region, which kind of made me choke at the start. But I mean, for now, I didn't actually feel like we were coming in as the second seed, because we still felt like we were the best team, so we wanted to prove to everyone we were the best team, so we still had high expectations. I guess the fans had lower expectations of us, but it was like, whatever, It was kind of nice to prove people wrong, I guess, in that sense, but it didn't really make too much of a difference, I guess.
And when you were on Splice, I remember you saying that because it was your first international competition, like you learnt so much from bot laners like Deft and Mako. and then you were saying when you're on G2, because you were going in as not only the first seed, like actually one of the favourites to win the tournament, that you didn't feel like you were picking up as much from the like the Eastern bot laners. Now it's been a few years since you've been to an international competition, and Europe haven't been doing so well. Do you feel that you're picking up stuff from these bot laners again? Do you feel like that gap has now increased again with the bot lane?
No, not really. I just think in Splice I was really bronze, so I had so much to learn. So it was like just basic stuff that now is like basic. But back then it was like, wow, these guys are like so smart. I was like using their abilities at the same time, or like just like waves and stuff. I was like, what the hell? They're crazy. But now it's just like everyone's kind of the same. Like I don't feel like international bottlers are that much better than EU bottlers, at least the ones at the top. But they are still better, right? They do some stuff better. Like me and Hans talk a lot about laning phase, and we did learn some stuff from the bot lanes, but it wasn't something like mind blowing. But there was some stuff that they do that is quite smart. So yeah, still something, but not to that extent, I guess.
And I was speaking to Knight yesterday, and he was saying that he thinks there's a gap between the East and West because of team fighting. Because he was saying that the Western teams have really good early games, and you can tell there's not really that much of a goal difference. But he thinks execution and team fights is really what's separating the two regions at the moment. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think that's when we played them. They also outplayed us pretty hard in team fights, and just like in general, I think that's where mostly the Eastern teams come out on top. I don't think we are that far behind anymore. I feel like we are doing much better in terms of that. So I'm looking forward to playing them again soon, since I think they're allowing this bracket as well. So I think the next best of 5 is against them, if we make it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to proving them that we're going to be the better team. And team fights and early game and everything. But yeah, I think for now, I think these teams are probably better team fighting, yeah, you could say.
I think, because you probably watched the Mad Lions T1 game as well, and obviously the first game Mad Lions had such a huge lead, but I felt, as a fan perspective watching them, I felt they just got in their own heads, like, okay, we have a goalie, we need to keep fighting, we need to keep killing them, and then in the team fights they just completely mis-executed it as well. So when you were watching that from a G2 perspective, did you think like, oh shit, like these guys are actually really good, they can get ahead of T1, or do you think, actually no, they're quite beatable, like you did today, because you came back from the goal deficit as well?
I mean, I think their early game lead comes a lot down to the picks that they have. Like I think with Pyke, you kind of need to get an early lead to actually make the champ useful, and they did that pretty well. But I think also their champs are way harder to execute in team fights. Like Pyke, you actually need to play really, really well to actually be useful in fights. So I guess if you screw that up, then you're gonna look useless, you know. And I think T1's comp was kind of pretty simple, you know. Nautilus hooks in, uses his ult, Aphelios shoots, Lulu buffs the Aphelios, and then bam, they kill everyone. So I think the team fight execution in that game specifically came more down to the team comp. I think T1's comp was way easier to play, so I think that's why the throws happened. But also, yeah, and Mad Lions kind of mis-executed, but even from that game I didn't feel like Mad was really good, because even the fights that they were winning, they were still way closer than should have been with the goal lead that they had. So yeah, that's kind of it.
And you're either facing JDG or BLG. Who do you think you're going to be facing up next week?
I assume we're going to be facing BLG, because I think BLG is probably the worst out of the Eastern teams. And yeah, they weren't that insane, and I feel like we will beat them as well.
You said you were really looking forward to play them in play-ins as well.
Yeah.
Do you still have that same kind of desire to play them, or do you feel like actually they're not that good from what you saw in play-ins?
No, I still want to play them. I think it would have been nice to play them in play-ins as well, just to see where we match against them. But I think back then, I think we could have lost. I think now, I think we're actually much better, so I think we can't lose against them at least. And I want to knock Bin out, so then I'm the only one left in the MSI that won every MSI that attended.
100% record.
So yeah, I have to knock out Bin, and then yeah.
I also saw something on your trivia page, and one of your achievements is that you reached 1,000 deaths in the LEC.
I did.
And
it's impressive.
As someone who plays support myself, I wouldn't really see that as an achievement. So are you proud of that stat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you play melee support, sometimes you just have to die, you know. It's not exactly a good stat, but I guess the more games you have, the easier it is to get to 1k. So not sure what achievement is there, but I think depending how you look at it, it could be good. I think for support, it's good to not be a KDA player and actually get in there and flip a game. So yeah, I think me and Hilly are doing a good job at that.
Yeah. I think Hilly especially. Yeah, he has some interesting games.
Yeah.
And I also saw, because I'm quite a big football fan, and I saw your favourite player is Michael Ballack.
Yeah.
So can you explain more about that? Are you like a big Chelsea fan?
Not really. Well, the main reason I liked Michael Ballack was because when I was around 10, when I was training football and playing a lot, I saw Michael Ballack had the same name, like Michael and Michael, like kind of same. And I was like, okay, I like this guy. And he played pretty well, so then I was like, okay, this guy's pretty cool. So then I just cheered for whatever club he was playing for, so I was like Chelsea, Bayern Munich, Bayern Leverkusen, whatever. And then now I guess he retired, so I don't really care too much about him now.
Yeah, because I support Portsmouth, and he played against us in the 2010 FA Cup final, and he played really well, and he knocked us out. So I'm a bit salty against that, to be honest. Yeah. Also, something that we do on this channel is we ask each person that we interview to ask the next interviewee a question, and the last person I interviewed was River from Golden Guardians, and the question's a bit shameless from him, to be honest.
Okay.
He asked, who do you think's the best jungler in North America?
Blabber. I think Blabber is actually quite good. Yeah.
And the next person I'm interviewing is going to be Blabber actually as well, surprisingly. So do you have a question for him?
So River knew I was gonna get asked a question about any junglers. Interesting. Okay, wait. For Blabber,
you come back to the straight away, want to fight again.
actually, just ask him what his favorite show is. Favorite show / anime, whatever.
Favorite show / anime. Okay. No, so that's all we have time for. Cheers, Mickey. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Nice.